Hello there, and before I get into today's video, I would just like to mention that today, the 27th of October, with any purchase of the modular on LEGO's website, you can get yourself the move-in truck gift with purchase, which has returned for a very limited time. And whilst I'm letting you know, don't forget that tomorrow starts my poll for the best LEGO Star Wars set of 2023, voted by you. So enjoy the video and don't forget to vote tomorrow. Hello there and welcome back to a very different style of video. Today we'll be ranking all of the Star Wars 2023 sets, and I thought it'd be best to do a tier list. Now I have made this a public tier list, so as long as I haven't messed it up in any way, I'll leave the link down in the comments, in the description below even, so you can check it out. You can do your own tier list, and I thought it's just nice to have all the images already prepared rather than trying to make it yourself, as I couldn't find a list on here for me. So I've made this, the link is in description, but let's get into this video. So I think the first set I'm going to rank is going to be Ahsoka's shuttle. It's going to be the Jedi T6. I'm not a fan of the set. The characters, the minifigures are really good, but I just think the shuttle was very underwhelming. The whole bottom side of the shuttle was just greyed out. There's no design on it, and for a ship that even the model can be flown vertically, to have one of them sides plain, I got to see it in a Lego store recently, and it just really doesn't look good from the other angle. So that's going straight into Young Lin. And perhaps the next set I'll do is the very first set I reviewed on this channel. It's this Boba microfighter here. Now this is a microfighter. We do have to keep that in mind when reviewing. We can't just say, oh, it's a small set to the bottom. So I do actually think the shuttle is really good. I mean, it gets the idea of the fire spray across very well, and there's nothing too special about it. It does have some nice flick fire missiles on the bottom, some good playability. It's got a good minifigure. Boba didn't come with his little rangefinder antenna thing, which I'm seeing more and more on a load of these sets. They're not coming with them. I think the other Boba set, the smaller Boba set, also missed that piece, but it's not great, but it is a well-rounded set. So I think we'll put it in 9. It might get promoted based on how these other sets do, but it is a really cool set. And I think we'll just go from there, as in take it in order of the pictures, because I think that's the easiest way rather than me plucking out some random sets. So the 501st Battle Pack, now this is based off of the Battlefront 2 game, so there are not as common troopers. You get 2 heavies, an officer and a specialist, or a heavy and an assault, but really they're 2 heavies. So I'm going to put it in master. It's great that we got battle packs, and I love the new size of them. Obviously, we don't get any droids. We expect to get some droids and droid builds with the £30 battle packs, but for about 18 odd pound, it's a shame they're more expensive, but that isn't Lego's fault. At the end of the day, that is to do with inflation. So it's still quite a well-rounded set. There are a few improvements to the minifigures. As I said, it does come with 2 heavies, so having an assault, it's the plain 501st Trooper, but having an assault would really have tipped it over the edge, and perhaps if they got their weapons more accurate to what the clones use, not only in the game, but in the Clone Wars, perhaps that would have tipped it over. I think the build isn't bad. It's not a great build, but there are some really good pieces that we wouldn't have got if they gave us a mini speeder or mini AT-RT Walker, for instance. But I've definitely built my own models. Perhaps that can be its own video. I'll buy a battle pack and build whatever I can from the pieces that are there. So look forward to getting that. Perhaps I'll make that sometime in November. And onto the Pirate Snub Fighter. I've seen this quite a bit for 20 odd pound. I think if it drops to £15, I might have to pick it up. But it's not got any name. Well, it's got a named pirate from Mando, but it's not got any key figures. £30 isn't that bad when you think about the sales that it'll be in afterwards. Now, a lot of these sets might not be great at the value, but a lot of them drop, especially when you're looking at like the £120 sets. The AT-TE Walker, for instance, dropped pretty soon to 90 quid from its, I think, £120. I'm expecting the same for the Coruscant guard ship, because that'd be really great picking up that set for £90. Places like Smith's and sometimes Argos tend to have these deals, so definitely keep an eye out. But for £30 it was a bit steep, so I think Jedi Knight is a great category for it. Again, It's a great build. The way they've built the ship, it uses a brand new cockpit piece. Now, I think they definitely could have reused the X-Wing piece for this ship, but it's great that it's got its exclusive cockpit and it's in a brand new colour. It's the trans black instead of the trans brown, or the other way around. I can't remember which one we've lost now, but they've redone quite a few trans colours in the last few years, and it's great that we got a new colour for the cockpit. It definitely looks like a better colour to this other one that we used to get in, but it's not that overwhelming. I'm very happy they didn't include another Mandalorian Din Djarin minifigure, because I mean, we've got them with every other set. You can see the spider tank, obviously he's in, the N1 he's in, and even this Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor. I'm pretty sure we got a Din minifigure in that, which was very odd. I would have much preferred getting either Cosca Reeves, Axe Woves, or even just another unnamed Mandalorian with the Fleet Commander. So we'll get to that in a minute, but it is quite a decent set. Now on to the TIE Bomber, where we see Admiral Race Alone, I think her name is, again from the books, and I think it was the Aftermath trilogy that she was in. I can't remember now, but funnily enough, I did read the book where she pops up, so it's great that we got her in minifigure form. She also might pop up in Squadrons if I remember correctly, and to get that new Vader with them, it's sort of the Mandalorian character with all the Mando sets. We're just getting Vader in the TIE Bomber, because we also have him in not only a mech, but also the final duel. So I think instead of Vader, I would have much preferred another Imperial, perhaps even someone like Tarkin. Obviously, we've got Yularen in the UCS Venator. Tarkin might not have fit in with Race Alone, but there'd be two great minifigures to get, and we definitely need an updated Tarkin. So I'm going to put it in Knight. It definitely doesn't deserve Padawan. You know what? No, I'll put it in Master. It's got the same faults as the 501st Battle Pack. A few minifigure tweaks, but that TIE Bomber looks amazing. And not only that, but we also get a Gonk Droid, which I know they don't count as a minifigure. I'm going to count it because it is quite a nice build. And now on to the Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor again. Comes with Mando, so it's not getting that Grandmaster spot. I'm not sure any of these sets are. There might be a few contenders, but I don't know. The Fang Fighter and TIE Interceptor are cool. I guess I've already got a TIE Interceptor that I built from my TIE Fighter. You might have seen it in my last video where I showed off the display. I'm not sure if it was on display, but I'll make a video on that soon. And I definitely want to turn Bo's Gauntlet into a Mando Fang Fighter, because I definitely like the blue colour scheme a bit more than the white and grey they've used for this Lego set. The Fleet Commander's cool. The TIE Pilot is cool. Obviously, you get the pilots for him. But then Mando and the Imperial Droid, I feel like it's a waste of two characters. They've just added them in to make the value, and I don't think it's worth that much. You can see the TIE Interceptor could definitely have been a £35–40 set like we saw with the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. And I think the same could have been done for a Fang Fighter. We'd get two Mandos, and then we'd get two Imperial characters. And we could have even got Moff Gideon with the TIE Pilot. And probably even still got the droid at Mando anyway, because I think the TIE Fighter and X-Wing come with 3 or 4 figures. So I'm not too keen on this set. It's not bad design. It's nothing like the T6 Jedi Shuttle, but I just don't like the set as a whole. I think it retailed for like 90 quid. I'd have been more than happy getting two 40 quid sets even, and it would have got us some more minifigures. So on to the helmets. The Rex helmet is cool. I really do like the helmet line, and I think, you know what, Rex will be our first entry into the Grandmaster tier, and Cody will join him. The clone helmets were a no-brainer from the start. It's a shame we're not getting any more helmets, because instead of Leia's Bouche, I think a droid head, be that B1, B2, preferably B1, would have gone amazing alongside the clones. It would have been a cheaper helmet line. It would have probably been the entry set for many fans of the line. And I just think that Leia's Bouche helmet is a bit of a letdown. I know they were probably wanted to do a helmet for 40 years of Return of the Jedi. They could have done perhaps an Endor helmet and just had the top, a bit like the Batman cowl. But I think Bouche shows up in a scene that would have been better doing a different stormtrooper, such as the 8080 pilots or any Imperial that we see in Return of the Jedi, because I'm just not a fan of the Leia Bouche one. It's a great helmet, don't get me wrong, but I think there were just better helmets they could have made for the final helmet. So I'm going to put it in perhaps Padawan, purely for that reason that I think there are just better helmets it could be. The model was good. I think it does look like the helmet from the movie, so they did a great job designing it, and that is what's stopping it from being in the youngling category. I just think it was a poor choice of model to begin with. Now, onto the dioramas. We'll start off with the throne room duel. You might have seen I recreated this with my playset from a few years back, I think the 2019 playset, but it was nothing like this. This diorama is really good. It's going to go in Grandmaster. It wasn't good enough for me to buy it, but if I hadn't bought the playset 100%, I'd have picked this up day one because it looks great. You got the two podiums, can be changed a little bit. They're not entirely accurate, but it's a Lego model. It's a little tad bit. The glass window behind Palpatine's chair looks amazing. The pattern around, they've got that arch around the chair. It just can't be improved as far as I'm looking at it. And not only that, you've got the new Vader, which we've seen a few times now. Palpatine has an exclusive headpiece, as well as an update to all his printing on the robe. Much like Luke, an updated printed torso, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any leg printing, though he does have a brand new hairpiece, which you may have seen if you checked out my full October haul. I bought a few of, added them to all my Lukes from Return of the Jedi, and it's warming up on me. Now I've added them to my display. It definitely looks more like Luke Skywalker, but I still like the old Lego hairpiece. There's nothing wrong with it. This is just a really good improvement, and them exclusive pieces and just the build of this set has earned it next to Rex and Cody. And right after it, we've got the Endor diorama. Now, I think this is quite a nice diorama. It's a bit lacking in the sense of there's just a few shrubbery and two trees, but I don't think that takes away from the diorama at all. You might have seen a few of my easier dioramas, such as my Mandalore mod, and even the Fallen Order one that I've now put out. But I think that this really gets the scene across. It comes with some awesome figures, and for 40 years of Return of the Jedi, it is a great set. Now, I do think they could have perhaps added a few more speeders, made it a bit longer, because it's just not got the pieces that go to the arch of the throne room. So I would have liked it to have been a little longer, perhaps switch up from the regular base, but they've done a really good job, and that is really the only improvement I've got. Perhaps another speeder and a bit more length. So that brings us on to the Coruscant Guard gunship, or as I've seen people calling it, the New Republic gunship, which can get all too confusing. It comes with Padme, it comes with Sheev, it comes with Fox, two Coruscant Guards, and one of my favourite things about the set is it's not a regular white gunship. We've got a specialised gunship. It's the first time LEGO have made a Coruscant Guard gunship, and it's Grandmaster, no brainer. I really do like this. I prefer this colour scheme to the other gunship. I just think it stands out from all the other white and greys and blacks we've got. LEGO have a lot of slack for all their grey and white Star Wars sets, but if you're looking at this, you notice you've got the gunship, you've got Endor, which is a bit greener, you've got the helmets, the brown helmet, the red from the T6, one-sided, but it's a bit more colourful. They've added a few more blue pieces to this Swamp Speeder down here. Yoda's Starfighter is green. You've got the white and blue E-Wing. You've got Shin Hati's yellow and red. You've even got Yavin. They are quite colourful, and yes, I'd say still the majority are grey. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mostly grey builds, but there are 24 sets here. Now, they're not all ships. Most of the ships are grey, but they have definitely branched out and are now mostly doing different colours. You still get the odd white, but a lot of ships and helmets and everything in Star Wars are going to be mostly one colour. The main point I think we can take away from this is they're bringing in a lot of reds, a lot of greens, and just trying to spruce up the Star Wars theme. So I do like the fact that they've switched it up, and I do think that you can't really complain about the mostly grey anymore, because as you see, 9 out of 24, there just is no longer mostly grey sets. And that brings us to a set which barely has any grey. The UCS X-Wing, I think it was the perfect time to remake this. I think it's a slightly bigger model, and not only that, it comes with the best X-Wing Luke pilot outfit we've ever got and probably will ever get. I really think they should make it exclusive to this set for people that have bought it, but I do think at some point we're probably going to see these sort of minifigures as the norm, and I'm not really complaining. You can see all the detail they pack into the Marvel CMF line, and I can't wait to get my hands on this sort of figure. I'm not sure it's a Grandmaster of a set. It's been done before 10 years ago. I think it was 2013 they did it. But the ship itself is really nice, and I definitely want them to redo Vader's Advance in a UCS style for next year. It would be a great pair to it because you've got the X-Wing, then you've got Vader's Advance. They're going perfect next to each other on a shelf, and they also just tie up so nicely to each other. I think it's a no-brainer to get that Vader's tie, so perhaps the pair of them would convince me to whack it in Grandmaster because that is a great idea. But for now, I think I'll keep it in Master, and I might jumble these about at the end, but we'll have to wait and see. Now on to the first midi-scale set for a while, and I think we will be getting a few more of these next year. There's rumoured to be getting the Falcon and Tantive, but we don't know anything yet. This could be the start of a whole new theme, and really it would be replacing the helmet line. So how do I feel in that sense? Well, it's a decent set. I mean, it doesn't spark my interest. There's no minifigures, there's no real displays, as in you can't interact and put your minifigures around there. But for a ship, it does look really cool, and it's a lot nicer than the UCS sizes because a lot of people can't afford them. I think this set was about £60, which still is by no means cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than the nearly £600 of these other bigger ships, the Venators, Star Destroyers. And it is a Super Star Destroyer, so it's quite nice you get the mini Star Destroyers. So I do think it is quite a lovely build, and there's definitely quite a bit of detail. I think for now it's a Jedi Knight set. It's not done too much. It hasn't earned the rank of Master, but I'd probably give it a seat on the council. We'll have to see what next year holds, and I'd definitely like to see a few more, but mainly just to see how they do them. I don't think personally I'll be picking any up. I'm sure there's a load of lovely pieces in there I could use for a mock, but £60 is a bit expensive, so I'll have to wait and see what next year holds. And that brings us on to probably my favourite set of the year, and that is the Ghost, which doesn't just get Grandmaster, it gets the first spot on Grandmaster. It's a perfect set. They've redone it. It is an update version, but this time we get the Phantom 2 included in the set, which should be a no-brainer. Otherwise, you'd have to pick up both to get the full Ghost. So it's quite nice they've included it. We get Hera. We also get a few other named characters. I know Jason and Chopper. I can't remember the other two's names, but they did pop up in Ahsoka. Had fairly a strong character storyline in it, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of them, so they'll probably pop up at some point in the future. We'll have to keep our eyes out. But honestly, out of the lot of them, and I can see them all on the screen, as can you, I do think this is my favourite set. The Coruscant Guard, I am a sucker for the clones, and same with that Rex helmet. I think these three are probably my top three through the year. But the battle packs, again, are good. I don't think this one's as good as the other battle pack. The Swamp Speeder's a bit of an odd build. I would have preferred something like a mini Walker or just something other than a Swamp Speeder, though I do like the fact they've included some of the new rounded corner pieces. They're quite cool. They came recently on Vader's Advance, which we got in the magazine. You can see just at the back there, we've got two of them curved pieces, so if you want to build one or the other, you can pick up the other set and still get that curved piece, if that makes sense. But it's not as good as the Battlefront 2 battle pack that we got the other one here with the other 501st Troopers. It's nice to be getting some of the 332nd Troopers, but I just think I bought this for the characters. I have no intention of using the little Swamp Speeder anyway. It's a bit of a downsized Swamp Speeder as well, so I don't think I'll use it in mocks, and the other one just has a few more better pieces, and I do genuinely like the little turret that come with it, so I think it's one of the better sets of this category, so perhaps it can be moved to the end, but I don't see it getting any higher than that. And speaking of sets that have, well, we've gone from one set that didn't have a good build to one set that had probably the best build, one of the best builds of the year. I can't say the best, but we saw another Yoda Starfighter. We did get one that wasn't terrible a few years back, though. Having built this one, I'm not going to rebuild my last one because this is such an improvement. It would have been nice to have seen another set, but they already had Yoda. We already had Yoda in the Dagobah diorama, I think, that was still out. So it's a cheaper way to get the updated Yoda minifigure. I think there was a little update to the printing, nothing drastic, but it's also nice to have got an R2 with the back printing in a £30 set, which again, the minifigures are a great price point to pick up if you already had the Yoda's Hut set and just wanted a Clone Wars minifigure, or if you didn't get the Yoda's Heart set and didn't get the Dagobah diorama and wanted the new Yoda head. And even R2's back printing, £30 is well worth it compared to the other sets it's come in, which I think based on this list has only been the Yavin 4 set and any sets that have left over from last year, which are probably all going into retirement. So the build is really good. I think it's a night. Again, I didn't want another Yoda Starfighter. I pieced this out and it does look pretty cool, but I'm just not sure Yoda Starfighter was the right one. We could have got so many other sets for the Clone Wars, even from Attack of the Clones, such as that Speeder Chase where we see Zam Wesell and Kenobi and Anakin. That would have been a great set to have put in here. But it wasn't a Clone Wars set. I think Yoda and Yoda Starfighter, they're one of the most known, well, Yoda's one of the most known Jedi, and his Starfighter is the only ship really that is linked to him, so it does make sense, but I would have preferred to see another Clone Wars model. So on to the Mando sets. We've got a few Mando and Ahsoka sets now. The Spider Tank, the Bo-Katan, amazing. The new Darksaber element, amazing. Of course we got Din and Grogu again. If you picked up any other Mando set, you probably don't need either of these characters, but the Spider Tank itself, very repetitive, very chunky, very... I guess there were limited things from Mando they could do, especially when they're marching on a destroyed world. They could have made another set like the Kenobi set where it was just a landscape, but after how well that went down, or didn't, I can see why they chose the Spider Tank. I'm not a fan. The Bo-Katan minifigure is great, and I have bought a load of the Darksaber pieces, but I'm not a fan. I think it is a Padawan. It had much to learn and definitely could have been taken back to the drawing board and perhaps have a look at another model, perhaps even have built another Mandalorian Starfighter like the Gauntlet, which would have looked really cool. But again, Mando's N1, the microfighters are really good. This one I like because it included 2 minifigures, but it also was like 40% more expensive, which if we were getting a full minifigure, fair enough. But for Grogu, it's nearly the price of the 2 battle packs. The price was just not great on this. It did come with Din's new helmet, but no hairpiece. So we got the face underneath the helmet as well, but no hairpiece. And the set itself was a bit bulky. I have customized it. I've actually followed custom instructions off Rubricable to improve how it looks, make it look a lot sleeker, and it is really what the set needed. Just a bit of a redesign and include the hairpiece maybe. Don't increase the piece count to up the price, even though there weren't too many more pieces than Boba's. And that brings us to the E-Wing and Shin Hati ship. It's a good build. I think it's sort of on par with the Pirate Snub Fighter. There's no immediate main characters here. There's a few villains. You've got not only Shin herself, but you've also got Baylan, which will probably be the only set we see him in. So it's a great set to pick him up. And we also get Morgan Elsbeth alongside a New Republic pilot and a droid, which has a new design for the R unit because we see a new design in the show. And to be fair, this was quite a good set. I know I didn't pick it up because I custom made the 3 villains myself, but if I had to pick up any set, this is nice and colourful. It's going to stand out. You've got a load of the villains. It is again that £90. Would I have preferred it to have been about £40 for each of them? Yeah, but for that price, you are getting the extra minifigure compared to the Mando one. So they've definitely improved it a little bit, and they do definitely seem more sturdy, bulky builds than the Flat Fang Fighter and the Flat Winged TIE Interceptor. So I definitely like this more. Again, could have been improved, could have done them for like £30–40 sets each, and I definitely think they'd have sold more, but you probably would have seen more New Republic E-Wing selling and no one buying Shin Hati's ship. So I can see why they paired them up, especially they can up the price and anyone that wants an E-Wing will have to pay for both of them. And speaking of expensive sets, Yavin, I personally am not interested in this set because the only real grab for me would be Leia's torso and Leia's dress. I already have the Yavin Ceremony Luke and Han from the books, and I'm not too interested in picking up the double-sided R2 just yet. I'm going to pick up a set with R2 eventually, so there's no point me forking out this much for him. 3PO came in a magazine, but I can't deny that the set is really good. It comes with a small Y-wing, which looks great. Comes with a little post, quite a solid build. The interior's a bit lacking, but the minifigure selection, all 11, 12 plus minifigures, are amazing. I mean, if it had a more detailed interior, perhaps it'd be sat next to the throne room. It is one of the best sets, and 40 years of Return of the Jedi, perhaps it would have been better to have got a Home 1 diorama where they're going over the plans for the second Death Star, or even a little Endor build would have been great, like an Endor playset, like the bunker we saw however many years ago, however many decades ago, probably now. But it is quite a nice build. You get the ceremony. I think they should have probably left it until about 45 or 50 years of A New Hope to release something like this, because they could have made it a bit bigger, perhaps even a UCS size one. But for a playset, it's really good, and I can see a lot of people buying this, especially when Christmas comes up, people saving their money to pick up this set. So on to the final three. We've got the mechs. Now, you can only see Boba's mech. This is all of the mechs that Boba is representing here. They're going to go Grandmaster. I'm not sure they're as good as the Ghost or the Gunship or even quite Rex's helmet, because I think having a Phase 2, Phase 1 clone was a great idea for the helmet line. But these mechs are amazing. I've made so many customs based on the way the Star Wars ones are built, and even added the bendable arms because it is a shame that you can't fold them from the box. But I really like these mechs, and I hope LEGO definitely takes more inspiration off Star Wars mechs for the future to carry them across to Ninjago, to Marvel. I am hoping we get some Ninjago mechs for the January release. I don't see us getting any Star Wars or Marvel. But then as the year progresses, I wouldn't mind seeing some more Marvel ones, some Star Wars ones again. We've got Vader, we've got Boba, we've got a Trooper. What about some heroes? And even if they don't want to do like a Mon Mothma mech, which would be really cool, they could go to the Republic era, give us a Rex mech, give us a just plain Phase 2 mech. So many people would buy that just for the clone alone, especially if they're not in any battle pack around the time, and even give us an updated General Skywalker print. We saw him in Ahsoka. It'd be a great time to give us a new minifigure, and you know what? Them three mechs would absolutely smash it. They'd probably even top these, and if Target or Walmart release a 3-pack of mechs, they're clearing the shelf very, very quickly. So that moves us on to Chewbacca and the Venator. Chewbacca's going in. I know a load of people will probably put him in Youngling or Padawan. And yes, the face isn't perfect. He's a bit squared off in areas. But on a whole, I think it's a decent set. It's creepy. I'm not saying it's not creepy. That face is the stuff nightmares are made of. But I haven't seen anyone improve it yet. I haven't seen any mocks to improve it. I mean, granted, people that don't like the face probably aren't buying the set. But I haven't seen anyone improve it. And I don't really know how I could even do a near good job that's half that good, let alone improve upon it. So it's going in night. The face is the only thing holding it back, and perhaps a few of the squared angles, especially its hips. Other than that, the set is really great. It's a great display piece, and it does come with a Chewie minifigure, which you can't fault. I mean, they could have definitely done without. It's a bigger statue than like a buildable creature like the Pro Droid or BD. But it's great that it comes with that minifigure just to show the Lego size of Chewbacca compared to the model, and I think it's earned its place sort of at the bottom end of the Jedi Knight tier. And onto the final set. This is the big one, the UCS Venator. So where does this hold up to the rest? Now, I am torn, because obviously this is a high-end set. This is a very expensive set. It's not going to be available to everyone, but it is a great display piece. It is meant for the bigger audience. So I think the price does have an effect. I can't put a set that's nearly £600 in the Grandmaster tier. That is what most people pay for rent a month. So I think that I'm going to have to put it in Master. I know a load of you that will be looking to save up and buy this in a few years' time will probably want me to whack it a bit higher, and vice versa. There'll be people that can't afford it that will want it lower because of that price tag. But it is worth the money. You get the bricks with it. Not only that, but, well, the bricks are worth it alone. On top of the bricks, you get Rex, you get Yularen. I think if you buy this set, you have to sell every piece for roughly 8p a brick, which is on the cheaper side of Lego. And then you'll get all your money back and basically get Rex and Yularen for free. So this is an amazing set, especially to come with the 2 exclusive minifigures. Yularen we get, he looks much like the Imperial officers we got with the Star Destroyer, which was similar size. And Rex is more or less completely new. We got new torso, he's got the printed on Karmas. Some people might have wanted a proper Karma. I like the fact that they've stopped giving us the material Karmas. The only issue I have with it is, if you're going to print it on the side of the leg as well. Or dual mold it and print just the white on the front so it looks like the Karma goes the whole way around, because I really do think that that little strip on the front does look a bit odd. We need some side of the leg printing. I agree, the Karmas are off because it makes the playability a lot better. They can sit down and the Karmas aren't getting in the way. But at least give us the printing on the side of the leg. So there are improvements to be made. The mini gunship is absolutely hilarious, which is to scale with the rest of the model, but I think it just misses out on the Grand Master tier. And I guess this is what I think of the sets. I don't think there's anything I would change. Perhaps the Leia helmet is a bit down too far, as maybe that goes on just after Chewbacca. I don't think it's as bad as the Spider Tank or the bigger Mando set, and I definitely would have wanted to see more from these bottom 2. I mean, it's great that we got the N1 rather than the Razor Crest, because by the time we got the Razor Crest, that had already blown up. But I just think they could have definitely done more for a lot cheaper as well for a lot of these sets, especially this one. And I think I'm quite happy with this list. I'd love to see what we get in the new year, battle packs, mechs, and even if the dioramas continue, obviously the helmets will not be. And we'll be getting more of these midi-scale sets. So it'll be very interesting to see what the new year holds. And of course, this will be linked down in the description, the tier list. This is on Tier Maker, so do let me know what you've ranked. If you do end up making a video on it, do be sure to tag me in the description or in the title, and I'll come over, have a look and see how your list compares to mine. But drop a like if you like any of my rankings here, and subscribe for more Lego content a bit different to this. But may the bricks be with you always.